What's up, everyone? It's Mr. and Mrs. 757, Rico and Courtney Gonzalez, Realtors. Welcome to 2024.
Hey.
So today we're going to be talking about maybe a 2023 recap, and also we're going to go ahead and let you know what our predictions are and what others' predictions are for 2024.
Yeah. Yep. So 2023 overall was a fantastic year. It was a little different than years past because we started the year with 6% interest rates, which
Right.
was on an uptick from 2022.
Right. 2022, we saw rates at what, like 5% was the highest, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people are
Something
going
like that.
crazy. Oh my gosh, 5% still high. And then it went to 6 in 2023.
Yeah, so it started off the year somewhere around the mid sixes and then got to an all-time, well, not an all-time high, but like the highest we've seen in umpteen years or something like that at 8%.
It was
We peaked at
8%. Yeah. 23-year high. 23-year
Yes.
high. Yeah.
Yes.
8%. That's pretty nuts.
Right. And then by the end of the year, I think we're back in the sixes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's January of 2024. And in December, it started going down. November, December started going down again. And right now, the pre-approvals I'm seeing at 6.25. So for
Yeah, I
VA.
think VA's at 6.1 the last I saw this week. So, yeah, so it was kind of like a roller coaster, and that really shot a lot of the wind out of a lot of buyers' sales for 2023. So, but those that did make a purchase, I feel like are happy that they did. And we had some serendipities that we'll share with you. But as far as like the rates and what all that means is we started the year, the rumor was it was going to be a hot spring, summer, and a cold fall. And the rumor proved itself to be true. The spring, summertime, I mean, people were bidding over and above the list price. We had multiple offers on just about every property that was listed. And it was a frenzy, even at those higher percentages. Rico and I purchased our first investment property in February last year. And the equity gains on that is something that Rico and I are high-fiving and fist bumping and all the things, because I can't stand when people say the rates are the reason why they're not moving forward with an investment. Now, mind you, a real estate purchase is typically an investment. It's not necessarily you're spending your money. It's your money can potentially make money for you. So anyways, so the people that purchase at these high rates are still seeing equity gains and still in the green, not the red. Anyways.
Yeah. Yep. So all last year, everyone, they had that famous saying, date the rate. What's date the rate? Is it date the rate?
Yeah,
and marry the
rate,
house.
Marry the house.
Marry the house and date the rate, because our game plan was no matter what the rates are, go ahead and purchase the home. And then when the rates go down, refinance. That was a game plan for a lot of people. So what happened was it was awesome until I think it was about maybe September, October hit. Rates skyrocketed to 8%. So a lot of the gurus out there that just preach straight up mortgage rates and the all-knowing of mortgage rates got it wrong last year. A lot of them did, right? I mean, people are people. They can't tell the future. They can look at the graphs and they can look at the charts and all the data and then come up with some sort of a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Prediction.
Prediction. Thank you. Prediction of what's going to happen. But people are people. And then we got this guy named Jerome Powell that's controlling the whole thing. Who knows what he's doing? But anyways, rates went up to 8%. So that plan went out the window for some people. But the rates still did go down, didn't they?
They did.
They did. Maybe
they
not
did.
refinance type, but at least those people that did buy, they bought at low interest rates and weren't scared when it went up to 8%, right? They were still at their 6% rate. And now it's at 6% plus. We'll go into more of what's happening this year, but some good news happening this year. And we're listening to different analyses, not the same people.
Yeah, so they say they're coming down even more this year, but we'll get into that later. So the people that were out ready to purchase in 2023 in the beginning spring summer timeframe, they saw themselves having to give more than list price. They were guaranteeing funds outside of the appraisal so they could obtain the property, and they were waiving home inspections and all the things. No home warranties were being purchased by any sellers or anything like that. So because when you're competing against others, you really, lose that opportunity to negotiate, so to speak. So then moving latter part of the year, falls and winter, our buyers in that particular time frame were getting closing costs assistance. Some were getting their home inspections. They were able to negotiate for repairs. They were able to get extra perks like rate buy downs and different things from the sellers. So if our sellers in the beginning of half of the year, they made out like bandits, the sellers in the latter part of the year, they had to give up to get a little bit, but by all means, nobody was lacking in any good thing as far as the sellers are concerned with the amount of equity gains they have had.
Right.
They're still in the win.
Agreed. So it's still it was still a heavy buyer's market heavy seller's market in 2023, but it was kind of like a pendulum. You know how a pendulum goes from one side and goes to the other side. It was still a seller's market, and sellers still did make some money. Right? Some of them, they weren't above, or at least a lot of them were above list price for what they sold for. They just had to give up a little bit of concessions here and there in order to get their homes sold.
Right. So the values maintain themselves because there's still very much a demand, even for those that were willing to give up closing cost assistance and things like that. They still didn't have to go down on the price much, which is excellent all around. So, which is honestly this activity for the year, to have a exciting spring summer and then a down tick in the fall winter, that's like normal real estate activity. That's nothing out of the usual. Okay, but I think it was a little more drastic this year in 23 because it was something we hadn't felt in a hot minute, and it was just the change in rates was just so fast.
Yeah,
it was a shocker to most. So it definitely slowed things down. But here we are, 2024. And the momentum of the year is already started.
Yeah. So let's talk about those buyers that bought in the beginning of the year that had to pull tooth and nail and throw out all this money and throw out everything. What happened to those buyers by the end of the year? Their investment.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
So the buyers that bought in January, the first half of the year in 2023, they were going through the craziness. They had to go up against multiple offers, put up extra money. Some did appraisal caps, and some people did home inspection contingencies waived and everything. Was it worth it for them?
I think so. I mean, I certainly can't speak for everybody, but like you and I, we went in on an investment property, and it's a starter home in Hampton, Virginia. It was nothing elaborate, but again, we purchased at a fairly high interest rate compared to the past couple of years, but that didn't scare us. And today we're looking at the equity gains, and they're a decent flex. So, we're grateful, and it's worked out for us on our end. So I'm thrilled that we bought when we bought and didn't listen to, broke Joe down the street who's crying about interest rates.
Yeah. So the point is, before you go listening to the news, before you go listening to auntie, uncle, or your parents, come talk to a trusted realtor that knows the market, what's going on now. A lot of our buyers, we're speaking from our buyers personally, including ourselves, they've gained the equity. We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars, better than stocks right now throughout the whole year. So you really can't lose in real estate when it comes to investment wise and increasing your wealth. You just got to play the right game. So those people that bought, they may have thought they were crazy, but at least they didn't have to pay those 8% interest rates. And even if they overpaid, by the end of the year, those homes that they overpaid for have increased in value. What happens
Correct.
5 years from now? They had a good deal. It's always a good deal. But if you bought in the second half of the 2023, you were dealing with interest rates, but you got a lot of concessions paid, right?
Yeah.
Still, when the rates go down, refinance, what's going to happen 5 years from now? Your investment will increase. So you win both ways. So try to stop paying attention to what the news is telling you is my point there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, by all means, the news, their agenda is to create fear and anxiety, and they're never going to portray a positive outcome. They're always
Yeah.
going to look at the negatives and highlight those for shock factor.
Yeah.
You cannot trust what you hear on the evening news. I'm sorry. Call me whatever you want, but it's facts.
If you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, our numbers are down there on the ticker rolling at the bottom. If you have any questions regarding buying or even selling, give us a shout. We'll let you know what's happening, at least in this market, in this area, to help you with your goals there.
Right. So we had some highlights, some serendipities come out of 2023. We help people buy and sell real estate and help them with their investments. And there's just so much joy that we get out of it when we see a positive outcome come to a family. And that's really what we get off on. And it was exciting. Rico, if you're able to share some details about your brother and his very first home purchase and all the perks that he got, was like a total home run.
Yeah. So with my brother, if I remember this, he called me a couple years ago. I was like, I want to buy a home, and it takes time a little bit, how to get himself right. He went to a home buyer class that we do every year back in 2023, I think. Yeah, it was 2023. He went to a home buyer class that we put together. He got his finances straight, and then he got pre-approved. I was so excited when the lender gave me a call, and we went shopping. It didn't take long. It took just couple homes, but he was able to get closing costs paid. He was able to get this thing. He didn't have any multiple offers to go up against. It was a smooth process for him. Plus,
Right.
it was fulfilling to make sure that my brother's all taken care of with his investment, because what he purchased, babe, 5 years from now, is going to skyrocket in value, which he can then do what he wants there with it. The options are unlimited. He can keep it as a rental. He can live in it and buy another house. He can sell it and use that money towards a bigger home. He can sell it and go gamble it all, whatever he wants to do with it.
And he got a fully renovated home. I mean, it's super turnkey. It's ready to go.
Brand new. It's ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah, no competition. I mean, it's hard to time the market. Everyone wants to time the market. They want to get in, buy low, sell high, right? That's what everyone wants to do. Well, you can only do one or the other. You typically can't do both. But when you're trying to time the market, it literally is impossible, because with every market pulse comes its own pros and cons, and you never really know what may come up. Like, we don't even know what's going to happen in the next 3 months from now, what that market pulse is going to look like, what people can get away with, what they can't get away with, any of those things. So I always like to say the best time to buy, the best time to sell is when you're ready. Because when you're ready to make a move, there will be pros and there will be cons that you will have to come up against. But when you have a trusted real estate agent like ourselves to kind of help walk you through the process and help guide you through the minefield, you're going to be just fine. And like Rika said, you can't really lose. I mean, technically, this is like a long-term game as far as investment goes, a return on investment, but it's like a tangible piece of investment, which is nice.
Absolutely. What about you? You have any fun, memorable stories from last year?
Yeah, so we had a lot of good ones. And the most memorable, I think, in 2023 was sellers of mine who found me online and interviewed a couple of realtors, and they picked us. And I was so grateful and pleased about that. And their reason they were selling was because they took a job and were relocating out of state. Well, we put their home up for sale. they had the best outcome possible. They sold this summer and had multiple offers, appraisal guarantee,
Nice.
no, inspection for info only, like the best possible outcome. So we were so happy for them. So it's closing day and they're scheduled to be at the closing table at 12 o'clock. And I got this text message from them at like 4 o'clock in the morning that morning, like before the closing was going to happen at 12.
On closing day, yeah.
Yeah. 4 o'clock in the morning. I was like, who is texting me? Never looked at it. Anyways, when I woke up, I saw that she was in labor. Her water had broke and she was heading to the hospital.
Oh, Lord.
So it's like slight little snag in the plans. But thankfully, Connie at Freedom Title and Escrow arranged to have a notary meet them in the lobby at the hospital in between contractions.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
like,
Over here giving birth, signing papers. Oh, breathe, babe, breathe.
hold on, I have to sign this. Yeah. And anyway, so that was like an interesting one for the books, like never happened to me before. But there's a lot of great positive outcomes. We had another couple that we sold them this house in Windsor Wood neighborhood like 5 years ago or 4 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they were expanding their family and moving to the Midwest. And they called us back and they're like, we don't want anybody to sell this but you know us, you know the house, we love you guys, come help us. What do we do? So we told them what to paint, what to do, got the house all fixed up. They followed all the recommended suggestions. And again, top dollar for the neighborhood. And this wasn't a top dollar property, like in the sense that, new roof, new HVAC, new. It didn't have all those things. But yet they still maxed out in the neighborhood because they listened to their awesome real estate agents.
Yeah. And with time, that maxed out price is probably the ceiling is broke on that too.
Correct.
You see?
Yes. Yeah. So they went to the Midwest skipping with, loads of money in their pocket.
Anyways, let's talk about 2024.
Okay.
Predictions. What's going to happen? Well, I'll let you know what's happening right now.
Okay.
Rates were at 8. Now, 2024, they're about 6.25 to 6.5. They're a little bit below 7 all across the board.
Yep. Yeah. So the rumor is they were expected to have another hot spring, summer. And towards the end of the year, we are coming up on an election. And election years typically create some stalling on buyers and sellers' behalf. So hopefully, we don't have any major issues to talk about that. I mean, certainly the last election we had back in 2020, it didn't slow things down at all. But the experts say that that's what we can expect for 2024.
Absolutely. Looks like seller's market first half is what we're going to start seeing, especially come like March. I think things are going to heat up big time. More buyer friendly in the second half of 2024. Is that right?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. That's what they say. So if you're a seller, now's a good time to sell. Buyers, I would still go ahead and buy some homes now because at the end of the year, that value is going to increase through equity and through appreciation through your home. Either way, it's either cash out or invest in a home. But they're talking about the rates being cut I've heard everything from being cut 3 times this year to 6 times this year.
Right.
So even if it's cut down to like, I don't know, high 5s, I think that would be a good mid to high 5s would be like perfect because we'll never see the 2 to 3s ever again.
Never.
Yeah.
I feel like 5s makes for a more healthy market. Yeah. More balanced. So that would be great. I mean, clearly still our biggest challenge is inventory. So, the demand for what we need in this area, we're lacking it big time. So sellers are still making out like bandits and in this market.
For sure. I believe sellers are making out like bandits and the buyers are making out like bandits as well. As long as you make the decision to buy or sell.
Yeah. And Rico's always going to say, it's a good time to buy. It's a good time to
It
sell.
is. It is.
And I understand why he says that. But I feel like I would never, excuse me, let me speak for myself. I would never give anybody advice on something that I personally myself wouldn't do. So I practice what I preach in the sense that, when everyone was crying about interest rates going up, we were still willing to pull the trigger because the interest rate means very little in the grand scheme of things. So we pulled the trigger. We weren't doing anything that we weren't willing to do ourselves. We're not going to tell you if buy if we ourselves aren't willing to do that.
Absolutely.
I don't operate that way, but I understand why Rico says it's always a good time to buy. But I just want to make sure that our listeners don't feel like some kind of way about it. You know what I mean?
If you're going to ask me, is it a good time to buy or sell? The answer is yes. But then we're going to dive into what are your goals? Why do you want to buy? Why do you want to sell? Then we can figure out for you personally if it's a good time to buy or sell or wait or rent, because we're doing property management this year as well.
Oh, yeah. Hello, 2024.
Go ahead and fill them in on that, babe, and we're going to go ahead and close it out.
Right. So we are prepared to do property management here in 2024, which means we can manage somebody's property on their behalf to be the go-to when as your you're the landlord, you're the owner of the property, you have a rental, you put people in. We can help you with that whole process. We can help screen people. We can help make sure you have a qualified tenant and then do all the background checks, all the things. And then we can make sure that if they call us or need something with the toilet that's running, or maybe they need like the stove stopped working, instead of them going to you, they can come to us. So if you or anybody has any needs like that, by all means, we can certainly now help assist with your property here in Hampton Roads.
Awesome, babe. Okay, you got anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, till next time, guys. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.